What's up, y'all? It's KingBritneyChanel. You already know. So it looks like Kay has sparked an interest in adult literacy. Before we get started, definitely make sure y'all like, comment, and subscribe. And I hope y'all enjoy my video on this. Okay, so before we get into the honey for the tea, definitely make sure you hit that notification bell and go and personalize your settings so that you don't miss not a moment of my videos, premieres, live streams, and so much more. I'm working hard to bring forward new content for y'all so that y'all can enjoy. And thank you to my subscribers that leave me comments that are motivating and encouraging, because it pushes me to work so much harder for y'all. So thank y'all so much. Let's get into the topic at hand. So ABC News posted like a real interesting story. And y'all know we've been talking about Kay as of lately, because Kay, you know, R&B superstar, and it's such a big, we knew it was going to be high profile. It's such a big situation. But, you know, there was some positivity that came out of this whole situation. Kay's situation, or his challenges of you know, being able to comprehend in reading and things and literacy, kind of sparked, you know, interest in adult literacy. And when they did this news article, I was, you know, kind of stunned, because I was an educator myself. Like, I taught young children. And so I know the importance of you starting that foundation early so they can get the tools that they need to succeed in life. A lot of people take teachers for granted, but teachers really are vital to the youth. They're really vital because they are, while the parents are at work, they're teaching the children things that they're going to, you know, in lessons that they're going to take on, you know, to help them succeed in other areas in their life. And reading is definitely one of those lessons that help you in so many ways. I'm just the type of person where I believe that, like, education is the foundation, so that you, even if you don't enjoy school, you need the basics and the fundamentals so that you have a foundation. And I think when it even comes to the Most High, in Hosea 4:6, he talks about that. Like, when you get a basic understanding, it's like you're building a learning community. And so basically Hosea 4:6 says, "My people are destroyed for lack of knowledge, because thou hast rejected knowledge." And he also goes on to say, "I will also reject thee, that thou shalt be no priest to me, seeing thou hast forgotten the law of thy God. I will also forget thy children." So with that scripture, it just shows me that you need the basic fundamentals so that you, okay, in order for, you can get knowledge, because you can teach yourself how to do anything if you read books and you know how to, you know, look up information and that sort of thing. So once you obtain knowledge, which is the foundation, then you obtain a certain level of wisdom after you obtain that. Like, you have to train up your children in the way that they should go so that they don't depart from this. And I feel like a lot of parents do not stress the importance of education. You know, we just put the tablet in front of the children. They just want their child to be the next NBA, and they put a lot of importance on physical. You know, we live in a time where Instagram is popping, and, you know, people like to take a lot of pictures, and there's vanity, but there's not a lot of emphasis on education. It's not valued. And like I said, education is the fundamentals. Like, prime example, you may be a person that doesn't like school, but you just having a basic, you know, understanding of comprehension, reading, that will help you, you know, as you go on in life, you know, so that you know how to read your bank statement, so that you know how to, make sure that your business affairs are in order. Even if you're, if you don't want to, go on a higher education, because some people, they don't want to go on to higher education, and that's fine. You don't necessarily need that to be successful, but you need the basics. So Kay's situation, where they were like, it was hard for him and he needed people to lean on, just to read the commissary and the documents that were being given to him, and it was challenging. And he's 52. As a person that was an educator, well, I still educate, but it's just like in a different way, like in a more spiritual way. That's sad to me. That there's, and then if y'all look at this article, it says 43 million Americans, and they say, said to include Kay, they basically have like a struggle or a challenge to read and write. And that's sad to me. So this article was written by Megan Canali, and it was posted July 29th, 2019 at 9:07 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And basically, they just talk about these people. So the first person they talk about in this article is a man that they're saying his name is George. I doubt that that's his name for real, but they're saying his name is George. So George is a 79-year-old retiree who ran a car detailing business for 2 decades. And it says repaired airplanes, served as a deacon in his church, and has 9 children. Brittany Bellamy, who is 28, who just recently got her own apartment, is practicing to get her driver's license and works at Universal Studios. So this was talking about people who are kind of like high functioning, but they lack the literacy skills that they need. And that's a real, like, that hurts me to hear that, because there's so much more you could be doing. And there's so many ways that if you don't know how to do certain things, that people could get over on you if you don't have those basic fundamentals. Like, I can't stand math, but you need the basic fundamentals of math so that you can balance your checkbook and all that other good stuff that you need. It's fundamental to you. It's essential to you in your everyday life. Now, I'm all for people saying they don't want to be into geometry and all the rest of that stuff, because I don't like that stuff. I feel like I don't use that on an everyday basis, so I don't need to really hear about that stuff. I'm understanding y'all saying that. I'm not saying that you need to go on to be like an English scholar or anything, or, reading books in a classy book club every month. But what I am saying is you need to make sure that you're not in a case situation so where you're 52 when there's resources available, people, especially if you have children that don't have that skill down pat. There's resources available to you. And I think what it is a lot of people are shy about the situation, and there's no need to be shy about that situation, because there's help available. Now, the sad part about it is if you're a person who you just sit with that and you don't, get the help that you need, and that is going to hold you back from things. And it's just not necessary for you to do so when there's we live in America where there's access to education. It's not like we live in a part of the world where you need money to go to school, so it shouldn't be this high of a rate for literacy. This is crazy. Or literacy. I said literacy. That rate is kind of high, So they go on to say they may not be at similar stages in their lives, but they share one defining characteristic. They're among the estimated 43 million, listen to this, y'all, 43 million Americans who struggle to read or write. So I went over the little backstory of how Kay, or the issue of literacy, was put into the spotlight when it came to Kay's situation. Like, they say he needed somebody to lean on. It was hard for him to read the commissary list and all of that. So basically, you know, it even came down to them, you know, claiming that he didn't show up to that gathering or that meeting he was supposed to go to because he was having a hard time reading the documents that he was given, or, you know, that was given to him. And so, basically, they also said that Kay, and I'm pausing because I was just shocked at this. Steve was saying that when he writes down notes, it's strictly phonetically sounding. And that is, like I said, y'all, in that individual's case, I really don't have a lot of sympathy for him, because he had millions, millions of dollars to get the top of the line speech, reading coaches, whatever he needed. He could have had access to that. When you have money, you have access to different resources and that sort of thing. This is not like we was dealing with somebody that is from the inner city, low, you know, income, you know, low, you know, socially, economically challenged and all of that stuff. Like, we're not dealing with that type of individual. He probably came from those circumstances, but was able to overcome that with his gift. But once he was able to overcome that, it seems like the education was not his priority. And what happened is, they were saying that it allowed people to come in. Like, when he said he didn't even know what was going on with his bank account, I said, oh no, this is unacceptable. Because you shouldn't be complacent. It should be every day you are growing to learn something. You know, whatever interest it is. Like, you can never stop learning anything. Like, we never get to a point where we know everything. The wisest person knows that they're not wise, you know, in their own ways. The wisest person knows that you need to constantly learn so that you can grow as a person. So this is sad as an educator to see that this person is writing phonetically on paper, but they're having a hard time reading the text and that sort of thing. At 52, when they had millions of dollars to get those resources, that's sad to me. And, you know, there's kids that I see, it brought me great joy when I would do my lesson plans for the youth, and I would sit down and I would work with them. Like, just to see, you know, the kids, they get excited. Like, if you're excited about them learning it, they get excited. And even if they have, you know, challenges, there's so many resources available to help you teach somebody that has that sort of issue. Okay, so as I'm scrolling down here, it says the notion that all or most native English speakers in America know how to read and write, at least on a basic level, is widespread and false, research shows. And as I'm reading that, that is like very stunning, or, you know, shocking to know, because that means that it's a lot of adult people or people that could be finessed in a situation. Like, just think of Kay's situation, to where R&B superstar making millions of dollars, and all of that fell through the cracks in between his fingers because he was not able to comprehend and read the fine print. That's sad, y'all. Like, one area of your life that is underdeveloped can affect everything else, amongst other things with that whole situation. But that's serious. And basically, as they go on to say, the program for the International Assessment of Adult Competencies, which is cited by the U.S. Department of Education, defines literacy as the ability to understand, evaluate, use, and engage with written text to participate in society, to achieve one's goals, and to develop one's knowledge and potential. So you just think about that part, to develop one's knowledge and potential. And you have the Most High saying that my people are destroyed for lack of knowledge, because people, they put their priority. If you think about the K situation, his priority was to, you know, flexing and finessing. It don't make no sense. He was on one of those type of situations. Bruno Mars. We out here flexing and finessing out here. You know, focusing on women and having the image of success, but not really being successful in the areas where it counts. Because singing is a gift from the Most High, but you still need other fundamental basics to, you know, be able to expand upon your gifts in other areas in your life. So y'all, they go on to say it divides the population into 5 levels, with levels 2 and above being considered literate. So basically they say here 1 in 5 US adults has low literacy skills, which includes those classified as being either level 1 or below. So they say there are an estimated 26.5 million adults at level 1, and that is very shocking, because these are people that may be raising children that are not competent in areas. You know, just think about all of the information. Now you could be, listen, you could be high functioning without that one area. But it's like, it's very important today in the age of technology. There's so many things that you need to know, that if you're not able to understand or to comprehend, that's you know, going to be hard for you as we're moving on. I will never forget, you know, it was an older individual, you know, in this new job market that we're in, that was very frustrated because now it's like you're required, you know, the old bachelor's degree and the things that were from their generation are becoming obsolete. So it's like the more and more technology comes out, you kind of have to have more understanding of things, and you definitely have to have literacy skills, because you have to be competitive in the job market, and that could be frustrating too. And then you have to be able to raise children at that. You know, it's hard out here. So they go on to say there are an estimated 26 million adults at level 1 according to the PIAAC. Those who can read and write at the most basic level but couldn't read a newspaper or would have trouble filling out forms at the doctor's office. Come on, man. You can't even read the print or you fill out the forms at the doctor's office. That's a problem. It says another estimated 8.4 million people are below level 1 and considered functionally illiterate. So there are also 8.2 million others who were unable to participate in the survey because of either a language barrier or cognitive or physical inability. And it says in the PIAAC, I don't know if that's an I or an L, but I'm just gonna go with it. Data classifies them as also having low literacy abilities. So it says people don't realize what a huge problem it is, said Gina Solomon, the executive director of the Adult Literacy League based in Florida. They don't realize how much of a problem it is, because if they did, people would, especially in America, like I understand if there's a language barrier, because if you're, you know, primary in your first language, then you would have an issue if you were, you know, trying to read English and all of that other stuff. I would understand that. But people that are over here where there's resources available, and that's why like when I did teach, we would have to focus on how to get information to families, how to, you know, make your binder where you have like the information for the families and the newsletters and things, just in case there was a child that we saw over the year that we noticed has some, you know, issues with achieving certain milestones or developmental milestones that they were supposed to reach, and they're not hitting the mark for that area. Because then that means if you get them help in time, you're not gonna, you know, it'll help them in the long run, because they'll feel more confident. They'll be able to pursue more things. They will not get finessed out here, because you will get finessed out here if you missing a area in certain things. I've seen it happen plenty of times. So they talk about this older gentleman named George, the one that was 79. And he asked that his real name not be published. He told ABC News that his dad was a sharecropper in Alabama, and back then you didn't have to send your kids to school unless you wanted to. And as he grew up and moved to Florida, he said his low literacy affected his work, though he found ways around it, like hiring someone else to do the accounting and filing when he ran a car detail business. So see, let me tell y'all something. When I first was reporting about Kay, I had a lot of people hating on me. And these people were hating, saying stuff like, oh, you could be very successful without education and all this other stuff, and trying to come for my education. Like, where's your education at? Let me explain something to you. I'm a college graduate. I'm working on another degree in psychology, and coming up, my mom always made it very important, or made it very primary and essential for me to do things like reading, like, even getting the, the little Dr. Seuss books, and, just making sure those materials were available. Like, I had an original mother that sat with me through educational, competitions, because that was an area that she knew I was excelling in, and she wanted to support that. And it caused me to be able to, by the grace of God, to be able to become an entrepreneur and have different business ventures and learn different things and be able to access and obtain knowledge to get more information on stuff. Because if you read and you basically take in knowledge and positivity, you could go so far in life. Because you don't want not being able to read to hinder you from anything. When I just think about those comments, y'all, that were left underneath my comment section in defense of Kay, sometimes that were so ignorant, like, Lord have mercy. You see, them not one need to prosper, but no weapon formed against me shall prosper. Period. Let's get back, y'all. So, anyway, okay, so the older gentleman, George, basically talked about his childhood. He said that his reading was like a first grade student at the time. He says, I was just blessed. I've always had people that were willing to help me, and I had a determination. You see what he said? It takes a village, people. You don't have to feel like, or ever feel ashamed like if you're not good at a certain area, because you can work on things. Everybody is on a journey to where we all have things to work out, and that's how we know like we are maturing and continuously growing, is when we're working to become a learning community where we're learning from each other. Like, something that you don't know, I may know, and I can teach you in that area, or something that I may not know, you can teach me in that area. So you don't ever have to feel like you're alone or you're the only one, because there's other people who might have that same situation that you can learn from, and maybe they overcame that situation, and you can learn how they overcame the situation, and you do not have to let that hinder you from anything. And so he says something that is the key word here: determination, that I was willing to make it, that I would have a decent life. Like, when I reported on Kay, people were like, oh, well, you don't need to do that. He says, this man right here said he was determined to not allow that to hinder him. And you shouldn't just ever feel like you're complacent with something that you feel like is an area that you need work on. Every day it should be like a process for you to build on that. Even if it take baby steps, there's people that will help you, and there's also resources available. And if you're determined, you can make it happen. Whatever you want, and you ask the Most High for it, He'll give you the desires of your heart. So if you say, Lord, I'm not all the way knowledgeable in this area. Can you reveal to me, show me how I could be more knowledgeable in this area? Because I know, honey, I had to pray myself all the way through the math classes, period. I had to, extend resources. By the grace of God, God sent me a tutor, and I made it through, honey. After I passed the class, honey, I had me a milkshake, And I was good to go, nervous and all after that final, honey. But I made it through. And God allowed you to make it through, honey. So he said he was determined. So he said his reading skills impacted his life outside of work. Because, the people that was making excuses for K, because I'm like, yo, it's no excuse why you 52 and you didn't have the determination, or you just never made that a priority. Because I'm looking at this person's life from what they saying he was spending his focus on for 30 years, and you didn't put no energy into that? Nah, that's unacceptable. So he said that, this man George, he's talking about how his reading skills impacted his life outside of work. Because the people that were in support of K were saying that, you could live a life, and acting as if that doesn't impact people's lives, not knowing how to, or having comprehension or knowing how to, read different things and having to lean on other people to get them through. That impacts people's lives. So he said he was an active member in his local Baptist church and eventually rose to the role of chairman of the deacon board, but he couldn't, easily read the Bible. And so he said if he knew he was going to have to read a Bible passage on a Sunday, he would have to prep ahead of time. And this is a quote from the man George. He said, I can get it and go over it a time or two with my children and wife so that I understand it, and then I can remember it so that I can get up and talk about it and refer back to a various description of what I read, he said. So basically, they also talked about other people, but this was good. And you see, he had people helping him. Like, my whole thing was, it was no excuse that Kay had them girlfriends and you wasn't sitting down there like, read me a passage or teach me how to read this or whatever. Or let me get somebody that comes in every day and teaches me how to read this or that so that I can understand my business, what's going on with my bank account. Like, you don't want to be one of those people when they get older and you don't have certain knowledge in areas. Like, you may not know everything, but surely you should mature as you get older. So that was good that he had his kids and his wife to help him and assist him. That's what I mean when I say, it's a village. Like, his wife supported him, his children supported him. Because, honey, sometimes your children learn real fast. They'll teach you a lot of stuff. So basically, they also go on to say, like, many people like George are super charismatic or outgoing to cover up for areas where they're deficient at. And that could be like similar to Kay. A lot of people described him as a person that was charismatic and, R&B superstar, and, he had that side to him. But it could have been, I'm singing you a song to communicate with you because in an area I may, be deficient in that area. You feel what I'm saying? So y'all, they go on and say, I had to pause right there to make sure I was reading this correctly, honey, because they talk about what Steve was saying about Kay. So Kay was basically, a lot of people wonder how he was writing those lyrics. So he would write, I guess, phonetically stuff down from what they're saying, and he would work with somebody else or other people when writing lyrics who would clean it up or type it up. And I kind of figured that, because I'm like, if this is what they're saying, he had to fall back on other people probably for support. They also say that Steve said on a note he had received from Kay, the word money was missing the E, and rumor was spelled, y'all know how you spell rumor. Rumor is spelled R-U-M-O-R, but it was spelled R-O-O-M-E-R. And he had spelled witch. Y'all know the word witch? Like, which one is that? W-H-I-C-H. That's how you spell it. He spelled it, according to Steve, his counsel, W-H-C-H-E. So it's just sad when you see this as an educator, because you know that it starts from the childhood. If you catch it in time, people could grow up and have prosperous lives to where they could grow up and be confident. Because I know that makes them feel confident. When I would work with different children and they would, you know, hit those milestones, or I would encourage them even if they were not at a level, but you take the time out and spend that time, that one-on-one, working with them on stuff, they'll get it in time. They may even, you know, even if they're deficient in an area, it'll be on a level to where it's not going to hinder them from anything. But that's just, man, y'all should really read this article, because I didn't know it was that many people out here that had the same issue. But the biggest thing that I like is that they took the K situation and they're kind of turning it into positive press, because it's shedding a light on education. And, you know, it's like, you know, don't be like this, where you this age and you don't know how to do this. Yeah, you could be successful, but think about how successful you would be. And the man George, he said when he ran his business, he had to hire other people like accountants and people to file papers for him. But just think about that. Like, if you can't do that stuff for yourself, people will try to finesse. They telling you, oh yeah, I took that deposit to the bank, and then they deposited extras in their account. If you don't know how to look at that stuff for yourself, honey, you can be flexed and finessed out your life, honey. So it's like, man, I've even had to teach, you know, English and grammar to people who had English as a second language, and they enjoyed it. They were adults. They enjoyed it. It was mostly like Asian people from places like Korea. You know, I've had people that Spanish was their first language, Portuguese, and I would help to teach. And I was there just to have conversations and to teach, you know, help teach the grammar. Like the person, the librarian or the head teacher would teach them, and then I would be there to assist with the grammar exercises and to help them to learn how to, you know, speak English and how to read so that they could be confident. And then too, like when we were working together, the adults who had English as a second language, they began to feel more confident, because you know that's a confidence booster when you are able to understand. Like, it also helps you, you know, build better connections and relationships with people. So I think that this definitely shed a much needed light on education that we need in the community. And I was happy that they had some success stories, like the young lady who's 28 and, you know, she's, you know, living her best life, but she was homeschooled and she missed out on, I guess, literacy skills, and she was able to get herself together. George was a success story, and I guess they were saying, you know, it's stunning or shocking that people could be as successful as Kay and be deficient in that area. But people, we think, like, you know, every day, like there's people, like when you were looking at the signs and everything to read to get around town or order off the menu, there's some people who that's a difficulty for them. And I'm glad that they brought awareness to this. What are y'all's thoughts about this? It's KingBritneyChanel. Do y'all think that this should be something that should be more awareness should be brought to this? Do y'all think that this ended up, you know, Kay ended up influencing this in a positive way on the education side? Leave your thoughts about this down below. It's KingBritneyChanel, and I will see y'all on the next video. Hey honeys, don't forget to check out my Teespring store, KingBritneyChanel Couture. It's back to school, y'all, and I've uploaded all of these new designs. We have wall tapestries, canvas art, towels, fleece blankets, pillows, just stickers, and so much more. So do not miss out on that. Definitely check out the Teespring. Look at all of these new designs where my lady boss is at. If you like to hustle, if you like to be humble, we got it all. So definitely make sure y'all check it out, and I will see y'all in the next video. Thanks for watching my videos, honeys, and please check out my Teespring store. I have something for everyone, and I hope you all enjoy. You all, we have a variety of different apparel, okay? Hoodies, sweatshirts, t-shirts, we have mugs, we have iPhone cases, tote bags. If you have an Android, we have Samsung cases. We have a little bit of everything for everyone. And I just really wanted to share my inspiration for the Kinging Always collection, because I know a lot of you all always ask me, why do you call yourself king? Well, I'm sharing it with you guys. A king is a descendant and a ruler of a divine race. So a woman or a man could be a king, and I just want to share the collections with you all. We have unisex sizes, so just pay attention to the description on the clothing, okay? We have leggings, we have tote bags. It's a variety of things to check out on there. There's different collections like the King Honeybee collection, the Oh Honey collection, the Kinging Always collection, numbers 1 to 3, and then we have the Beautiful collection. So I wanted to give my subscribers inspirational things to wear and to feel good about themselves. So definitely check out the KingBritneyChanel Teespring store. You should be seeing the Teespring merchandise pop up on my videos now. And thank you for watching. Thank you for checking out the Teespring store, and I will see y'all on the next video.